And we're back with the grand finals for the RLO Masters, January 2nd week of the year as well. So still early on this one, and man, is it turning out to be something special already. Ground Zero versus Team Process is our final matchup tonight. Unbelievable work by Team Process to get to this point. And not only did they get here, they got here with style, 3-0ing all the way up the bracket for playoffs tonight.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to finally see them in action, because I want to know what their hidden factor is. What has been working so well for them? Because they've gone against decently strong teams. We talk about Fenrir, who made it into the top 4 last week, and then we talk about Cringe Society, who again is that consistently strong team. So looking at this team, obviously a little bit less experience compared to what we're used to seeing in our grand final, but the team is still very stacked. We're looking obviously at CJM, Baked Potato, and Laxon. CJM being the veteran here, Baked Potato and Laxon. Baked Potato has been around in the scene for quite some time. I know Laxon is definitely an up-and-comer who is making some really big headlines about his style. So maybe he could be that factor like Amphis, just being really creative with attacking plays and keeping his team relevant.
Yeah, and I mean, it's worth mentioning that in their last matchup against Cringe Society, they may have taken them 3-0, but it was only 1-goal games throughout the entirety of it. In saying that, that's no less of an attestament to them. Taking down Cringe Society 3-0 is an enormous task, no matter what team you are. And Cringe Society had a lot to prove this week as well, because they didn't even make it into playoffs last week. So getting taken down by a Team Process in such a big way here is fairly major for them. I'm sure that they fought hard to make sure that didn't happen, but they're still here now. So let's see if they can do it again to Ground Zero. I don't expect a clean sweep again. Yeah,
I don't think that they will walk away with a clean sweep, but it could be possible. I didn't think they were going to get clean sweeps in the previous series, but they did manage to do it. Like you said, it was 1-goal games, but to be unscored on in 15 to 20 minutes of gameplay, that's a fair feat. So hats off to them. But this is going to be an interesting kind of prequel to what's happening in the future. Obviously, we do have our ESL matches coming up very, very soon, and this is a good platform to go against these stronger teams who are going to be massive threats in the ESL. So this is going to be a huge match for Team Process.
Yeah, and looking at the rankings sheet here as well, Ground Zero coming in equal 5th here. Meanwhile, Process equal 9th. So a bit of a discrepancy there in placement as well. So obviously we're looking at this expecting Process to probably go down, but like you said, there's some factor here that we aren't aware of. So I'm really keen to get this underway to see how we go, and maybe even see the Masters of Winter Ground Zero get taken down.
The interesting thing I want to think about here is if Process are able to beat Ground Zero here, they will go above them in the leaderboard by a single point. That is huge. That's how tight this current leaderboard is. When you think about what's happening, one single point, if Process were able to move up here, you see them on 70, currently Ground Zero on 90. You get 151 for a win and 130 for second. So 21 points of difference. That is a massive thing to consider for Ground Zero. Obviously, it moves them further up the line. But for Process, this could potentially be a huge jump going from that equal 9th position into potentially a top 3.
Yeah, I mean, top 3 for a team that you would call relatively new. That's crazy. I did mention earlier, I have seen Process before. I recognize the name CJM. I recognize Matro, who actually won't be playing today. He's going to be subbed out for Laxon. Who knows? Maybe even Laxon is that surprise element in this team. But we're going to see very shortly as we go into lobby already, and I'm really excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm excited as well. I'm keen to see what Laxon brings to the table. I have gone up against him in casual, definitely not ranked. I'm not that good, but I've gone up against him. He's very creative with his shot styles, and I feel like that's going to be really good, especially with Baked Potato, who I know is putting in a huge amount of work into how he approaches the game. I'm pretty sure he's learning new binds as well, so he's really trying to push his limits to that next stage to really make Team Process a relevant team. And in this best of 7, which is obviously our grand final best of 7, it's going to be an absolute marathon for them to potentially pull off an upset.
Yeah, and it's interesting being ground zero in this matchup as well, because you probably don't know what to expect here either. So already kickoff going to Team Process. Express comes in fast though. Good challenge from Potato. CJM can't get there quite in time. And dominant aggression straight off the bat from ground zero, but no goal.
No goal just yet, but I know that with Ground Zero, and especially the way their thought process is, they're not going to respect Team Process at all in this position. They think that they're going to be, that much more sound in terms of their game plan, their rotation. So they're going to be hyper aggressive, and we're already seeing that in this opening minute of gameplay. Everything that Team Process have in terms of their possession on the ball is being challenged instantly by Ground Zero.
Ooh. Team Process actually almost able to take a shot there. Nobody able to follow it up as it drifts across the front of the net. Express passes out to Emphas. Great shot. CJM can't quite get there, and it'll bounce off the crossbar and in.
Nice touch there by Express. Just pops it into a beautiful spot there for Amphis. You can see both Amphis and Torsos having the same idea on how that play was going to unfold, and they were able to execute it very nicely.
CJM beaten by Express on kickoff. Well, should have gone to Potato at the very least. Now, quick rotation back for Team Process. Not an error that you want to see this early in this game.
Yeah, definitely not an error that you would expect to see early on, but obviously there's going to be some nerves. You can see that Potato had put down as his name, happy with second place. So obviously feeling very comfortable with where he is at the moment, but we definitely want to see some fight from Process.
Express now. He's going to take this off of his backboard. Does take control. We'll go back. Laxon should be challenging Emphas on this. Gets bumped away though, Express. Good pass in. Torsos won't be able to get to it as it gets sent up high by the defender and cleared out by Laxon. Now, Potato goes up high for that one. Nails it to the corner, but Torsos is there and waiting. Torsos now can dribble that down 50 away. Does go in his favor, but Laxon should be able to get hold of that. He misreads it and uses up all of his boost in the process.
This is a situation where I think that Process are trying to be fast to the ball because they're understanding that Ground Zero are really going to bring the heat in this gameplay, but they're not thinking about their efficiency. We saw Laxon challenge that ball pretty inefficiently. He decided to fly at the ball rather than using the wall, which was directly behind him. So they're, I guess, a bit confused, possibly, or even just a bit challenged in their thought process on how to play this series out.
Emphas under that ball now. Laxon can't quite find it, and Emphas will take a second goal for Ground Zero. Team Process really struggling with such a dominant team here.
Yeah, very, very dominant start for Ground Zero. We saw them have a bit of trouble against the Dire Wolves early on. They went down 2 and then came back with a reverse sweep to get to this point. But again, we're seeing them just adapt to the play style, a lot more confident in this gameplay, and they're being a lot more effective on their attacks. And CJM, unfortunately, wasn't expecting a miss there. Had to react quickly for a shot and couldn't put it through.
Oh, Emphas, beautiful little backflip there. He can't aerial up to it in time though, and Potato will get the save that he wasn't able to last time. It was close, but this time it is successful. Express tries to get the redirect in, but the angle is too narrow, but not for Emphas, who just smashes it straight in the back of it.
I like the communication here by Ground Zero, because Torsos definitely could have taken the shot there. Didn't have any boost to work with, but the call from Emphas came through, and you can see that it was the right call. CJM had no idea that Emphas was going to take the shot, committed to the Torsos play, and they were able to secure a third goal.
CJM sends that towards net. Was a good shot. Express put that away to Torsos. Now Torsos taking the dribble, flicks over CJM. Bump on the last man. CJM can get the flick up. Express is a danger. Gets it past him. Now Ampus sending it well back just beside his own goal as he comes off ceiling and looks at that 50.
Nice angle there by CGM Potato, taken away from the position of ground zero, but he actually just gave the position back to Torsos with momentum, and he puts on a nice flick. A nice little return there by Potato, getting those extra couple of touches that he needs, but not having enough boost to execute a play effectively. And this is where the efficiency comes in, having those boost routes, knowing how to pick up the boost properly, just to give yourself a little bit of extra touch, which I know these players can do quite regularly, but obviously against the caliber of ground zero, you start to forget those little things.
Yeah, 3-0, it's not looking like there will be a clean sweep by Team Process this time around. The dominance coming out of ground zero is quite substantial. CJM does get a nice clear out there. You do see little bits of brilliance out of Team Process, but it's definitely not enough to stop ground zero. Great shot just under crossbar.
Well, we've seen Amphis get a few clips last week. This time he gets a nice little clip in the grand final. Nice little flip reset into a musty to pop it past Potato, who was last offender there, to get that fourth goal. And a dominant start from ground zero. But again, a reminder, it is a best of 7. It is a marathon. They need 4 wins to be crowned the victors. So yes, they start off strong in game 1. Can they maintain it through the day? And already we're seeing Process strike back.
Yeah, Process able to get one right in that last moments there. A great challenge there to actually get the center by Laxon as well. Most of the work done by him. CJM made sure he was in position if the ball did get out to him, and it made it quite well. So definitely good communication out of Team Process. We've seen a few whiffs and stuff, but like you said, has to be a fair bit of nerves involved in this matchup, and maybe those will settle and the confidence will come in for Team Process in game 2.
Yeah, you would have to think so. Hopefully the confidence and the nerves settle a little bit as well. You want them to, approach this game like any other game. As I always try and tell myself, what they're doing with their cards is no different to what you potentially could do. It's just about efficiency. So take this game with a grain of salt, move from it, get that second goal for Potato, get that confidence boost, and then push forward. We know Potato is probably going to make a card change. He normally plays with the Octane. I think he was doing a little bit of a tribute to Torsos there with the same skin. So hopefully he's back in his comfort car and he starts to progress much more efficiently.
Yeah, it did end up bringing that down to only a 2-goal lead, making it looking a little better for Team Process in the stats, but ground zero really just a powerhouse here at the moment. Amphis with all 4 goals for the team though, and I mean we have seen him be the king of aggression throughout tonight's series. However, yeah, ground zero is just, the dominance is the word that keeps coming up, but I'm going to keep saying it because that's what we're seeing.
I think the factor as well is in the previous series, we saw Amphis be a little bit more stifled in terms of his opportunities. He quite often was the playmaker or the one who sets up the play. This time around, he's having a little bit more freedom. He's getting more time on the ball, and we're seeing those mechanical plays. We're seeing him get, flip resets into musties. We're seeing him get those air drags. He's having a lot more confidence in his own solo play. And the Team Process, I want to see them challenge that more quickly. I want to see them get Amphis in an uncomfortable position and force him to make some errors.
I have to say, despite ground zero being all over Team Process there, Team Process came away with some decent stats there. They weren't far off on shots, 7 to 10, and one of their players got 5 shots, which is equal best shots per player in this in that last match as well.
Yeah, that was CJM doing a lot of work on both sides of the field. The veteran, as we said, has been around the scene for quite some time, and he's going to be a little bit more comfortable with this playstyle. It's up to him to give the confidence to his team to push these juggernauts of the scene.
Torsos, great control, unbelievable goal by Torsos, a one-man play. There was a little bit of interference by Express in the goals there, but man, just beautiful control out of Torsos.
I think if there wasn't an interference by Express, Laxon may have been able to read it. He did have support by CJM, but Express just taking the opportunity to give the 2v1 to his teammate, get a really strong shot on, and take an early lead.
Now Torsos turning on this well, doesn't get it past Laxon though. Laxon does seem to be coming up strong in those clutch moments for Team Process. Potato will slam that one in well. He's been a little bit more of the defender for Team Process, but takes a goal now and evens this game up 1-1.
I did say that as soon as he left, he will be going to his comfort pick and an octane. And when you're in your comfort picking, you know how that angles work and you know where to position yourself. It does make you feel so much more fluid, and we're seeing all that already with Potato.
Now CJM, sending this up high, Amphis. Now, nice flip onto that. Torsos here. Actually doesn't collect the flip reset he might have been looking for there, and now CJM pushing up, looking for that center, gets it past Express. Actually a shot by himself. What a shot it was! That angle's insane.
Someone pull out the protractor, because that was millimeters of a degree, and he was able to get past not one but two defenders in Express and Amphis to get that shot on. And now we're starting to see the Team Process that, could have potentially put these juggernauts of teams in their place.
Sorry, I'll get back to casting in a second, just trying to find my protractor. Now Laxon, way to CJM, sends it off that backboard. Demo on Potato, no chance of a goal. He was that last man to come forward for that ball. Amphis gets a great pass out to Express, but that 50 goes extremely well for Laxon. Has to be a goal. 3-1 to Team Process. What is happening in this game?
This is spicy. I like the way Laxon approached this ball. Went for the backwards dunk flick. Wow, what a stylish shot coming from Laxon. That's going to be a massive confidence boost for him as well. He got a beautiful 50 challenge to advantage. He adapted quickly. He put in a goal. Each player now from Team Process with a goal in this match. And this is apples and oranges compared to game one.
I mean, I mentioned the fact that, if they were able to open up a little bit, those nerves might disappear and we might see a bit of confidence. Seems like it's happening, and the confidence is producing miracles. That was an incredible shot. I mean, yes, very open net, but you gotta respect that shot.
You do, and yes, it was an open net, but there's so many people, especially when you're at that kind of velocity in the way you're playing, you tend to misread how much speed you've got, how much power you've got, and that can potentially, fumble the open net. But Laxon taking all the confidence and making a great play.
Laxon, great touch on that ball. Torsos up now. Couldn't take a shot himself by looks of it. Double commit on that is dangerous, but Express pinches it far across to the other side.
Ooh, good demo there. It's going to open up some time and space at Process now to be able to control the ball a little bit more, but they still have to be wary of Express, who is lurking in that bottom left corner. Amphis now going for the support as well, but they'll have to try and solo this. You do see Torsos lurking, but they're not going to be able to get into a position for a shot until Express again in that corner. His corner play has been super strong for Ground Zero, puts it in a spot for Torsos to score.
Yeah, good challenge by Express there to set that up. CJM, he read the situation correctly, but just wasn't back in time. Now, looking like Ground Zero within spitting distance of evening this up, but they are still down by one, which in itself is quite impressive by Team Process. They've gotten here well, and they want to continue this lead. They're on attack again as Express goes up, does beat CJM. Now Laxon comes through. Goes to that off wall, gets that second touch. Express is going to send it back to corner for safety, but he gets beaten by Potato. Will clear eventually off of Amphis.
Amphis, nice clear. A bit of confusion in the corner for Team Process, but they do still currently have the lead with 100 seconds on the clock, so they'll just need to maintain that lead to really put the pressure back onto Ground Zero, who started off strong. It has been a very high scoring series so far. And now we see CJM taking control of the ball. He's going to try and get that second touch. Can't get it past Express, who's put it in a good spot for his team. But Laxon, beautiful second touch. Maybe even a third to the wall just to try and get some time and space for his team.
Now, Team Process looking less likely to score than they did early in this game. I think maybe Ground Zero has switched from that super confident stance to maybe taking this team a little bit more seriously after being scored on 3 times. And now, oh my goodness, I say that they're coming off of hyper aggression and then they demo everyone in field.
Yeah, Express just being a massive instigator in these attacking pressures. We see him, lurking, not having the confidence that Process will go for the clear, and he's just going from end to end, trying to get those infields. And if he can collect a few demos on the way, he's definitely going to do so. Torsos this time actually being the demo collector. It's going to give him some time and space. He gets a couple of touches on the wall, but no support there for the time being. Input pass is nice, but gets taken away by Potato. And that's going to buy some time and space for Process.
CJM, great center there, emphasis up early. Now Potato challenging that well, gets it out to the center field, but Torsos now taking a pass off of Emphas. Emphas will finish it. Great little play out of a team that we expected from Ground Zero, just showing off.
You almost expected Torsos to possibly go for a redirect off the backboard there, but instead drops it down to his teammate. He gets a nice flick, hits that crossbar down, well executed to bring it back. And, Process started off strong. They had a 3-0 lead, and now they're back to 3-3 with 3 seconds to go. It's going to be rough.
Laxon failing to drop that one down will mean that this will probably go to overtime. CJM still capable of setting up, but overtime it is, and in round 2 it has not taken long for Team Process to look like they're even levels with Ground Zero in this game at the very least. Definitely still a challenge for them to take this series, but looking more and more serious. There's the shot. Potato just barely missing that top left corner.
Yeah, he was definitely going for a very precise touch there. Ground Zero had pretty much every other angle covered except for that top corner, and unfortunately Potato didn't have the accuracy there. But, Team Process definitely looking a little bit stronger than Game 1. They're putting more opportunities on, and if they're able to get a win here, that's going to really, solidify them as a contender.
Ground Zero should have really scored just then. A little bit of positioning errors mean that it is still overtime. Approaching this first minute now. Torsos still chasing. This is Potato. Gets that 50 away from his net. Express making a little bit of an error there. It goes back to Emphas. Now Laxon can take control. Upfield into the corner. CJM challenging. He misses as Torsos gets it past him. Express now off the backboard. Looking like it might be the one. Emphas will finish it in Ground Zero. Take game 2.
The one thing that's really been evident for me for Ground Zero is obviously their adaptability. They adapted very, very quickly to that change in playstyle by Process, but they're rotating so efficiently. They're boost stealing quite a lot, which means that as the rotations come back for Process, the boost isn't available. They're having to collect pads or take different routes than they used to, and that's causing a few mistakes. And we saw that towards the end there. Ground Zero started having a bit more pressure on the offensive side, and we saw Express quite often get a demo or rotate, take that back corner boost away from Team Process, and Team Process were just stuck eventually. They couldn't really move forward. They didn't have the boost to move and make a play, so they just had to sit and turtle up and hope for the best, but unfortunately, Ground Zero just too strong.
Extremely strong. I mean, it's the result we expected, but not the way we expected to get there. Team Process did extremely well that one, and definitely showing us that they're capable of coming up into this as at least a threat. And maybe that's not all we can see out of them. Maybe they're still warming up. We've got a best of 7 here. That's only 2 games into it at the moment. Takes 4 to win, so they've got opportunities still at this point, and I'm not done watching this team, so Ground Zero definitely still my pick for this match, but Team Process are definitely starting to show up.
Ground Zero were my #1 pick for tonight's event, so I definitely feel like they have the capacity to, really put a strong showing in. But you can't really count out an underdog. They will always have some kind of flair. They'll always challenge the ball a little bit differently to what you're used to. And if you're not prepared for that, you can potentially be scored on. And we saw that in the previous game with Process getting 3 goals.
And especially in a best of 7, you see the newer players. Emphas just slamming that home. What a play out of Ground Zero.
A very, very solid play. Torsos baiting out a touch there, and you can see how stationary Potato and CJM are there on the goal line. They couldn't really adapt. They had no momentum to get to the ball, and that means that Emphas can slam it home any day of the week.
Now, if Ground Zero will let me finish that thought, Team Process, full of players who are Okay, Ground Zero, stop. I'm looking at you, I see you, that's enough. I'm trying to speak, express what ground pitch.
Very, very nice ground pitch. What I like is that Amphis as well. Like, you can see Express is losing the ball. Amphis deciding to fake out a challenge there to keep Process at bay. If you don't see Amphis there, you try and catch that ball away from Express. But the fact that Amphis went for it means that they have to stay. They have to wait to see if Amphis is getting a touch. Otherwise, they overcommit.
CJM with a bit of a miss on that one. Express as well, though. Potato will center that for CJM. Good opportunity. Torsos gets there just in time to stop that passing play connecting as Amphis sends backward. Potato now away to that left-hand side. As Torsos takes back possession again. Should be a shot, but Laxon with a good save.
Amphis, good control just to keep that ball moving forward. He's going to pressure this as much as possible and actually strips the possession away from CJM and causes some commits here by Laxon. Beautiful ceiling pinch to put it in a good spot. Potato will read it and put that ball back into a contentious position. And Ground Zero for the first time look a little bit stagnant. They are a bit, stationary, a bit flat-footed, so to speak. And they're really struggling to... Actually, I'll take that back. They finally get the ball moving forward and they actually put a good shot on.
Express can't quite read that backward bounce. CJM now great skill, almost finds the angle there. Actually would have been a better angle than his previous one. He is really, really good at just directing this ball.
Ooh, there's a bit of contention there on the goal line. Ground Zero almost fumbling, but they do manage to walk away unscathed for the moment. Nice challenge there by Laxon. Is going to put it into a 1v2 situation. Tries to get the flick off past both, but Express reads the play every single day of the week. Nice shot there, but there are two defenders and a third from Ground Zero to support on the defensive side. And they eventually get a nice pinch out. That could potentially just go in. It does narrowly miss in that top left side.
Express now with the shot, bar and in. That is as close to out as you can get and still score. But it does go in and makes it 3-0 for Ground Zero. And man, this is the team that we were expecting after game one.
We did see a good show in game two, but it seems like, again, the Ground Zero just adapting. They're being more creative with the play. They're starting to go for a lot more ground pinches as well. We've seen the second one there, this time by Torsos. They're noticing that, Process love to be in the air. They're happy to challenge in the air. They're going to drop the ball down. They're going to create some confusion, and they're going to be successful.
Not only was that ground pinch good, it was unreadable as well. He kept his nose up as if he was going to try and shoot high until the last moment and faked the defense into jumping. Just really, really well played there. Now, though, opportunity for Ground Zero, for Team Process, sorry, will not go anywhere yet. Laxon to that corner. Amphis now with control. Can take that off there, looking for the backboard, can't find it, gets to Torsos. Amphis saves Torsos' shot, and I think they might just be playing with it at this point.
I mean, it might have been a situation where if they do score too many goals, obviously the game takes longer, but it could just be a fact that Amphis might have gone up for the bum, accidentally jumped into a contentious position. So you can't really say that they've been playing with. I feel like they're just, maybe being a little bit more experimental with their plays.
CJM definitely knows where his protractor is, unlike me, because these angles that he's nearly tapping are just unbelievable. I've not seen consistency on angles like this from almost anybody. It's really, really incredible stuff that he's willing to go for. But unfortunately, nothing going in this game. He got one last game and needs to find that magic again as Laxon tries to find that center. He was working with low boost. Torsos now up to Express, another miss. I've seen more misses this game than I think we've seen in any of the series tonight.
I think the reason for that being is Ground Zero just trying to be as quick as possible to the ball, trying to take time and possession away from Process, because we saw in game two when they do have time and possession, they're able to make things work. Right now, they're just trying to challenge the ball fast, bit ball chasing mechanic, and really stick it to Process at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. They want to keep this ball under wraps. It's a good shot out to Potato, but he's not there early enough. Just goes wide of net. Amphis off ceiling. Great flip keeps controlling that, but Laxon will read it well. CJM now following this as Torsos takes it to the backboard, gets a second, tries to get it to Amphis, but Amphis may have run out of boost there, actually.
Yeah, potentially, but it will be the dying seconds of game number 3, and Ground Zero commanding their way to a 3-0 series scoreline. They need one more in this best of 7 to be crowned the victors of week 2, considering their misfortune in week 1, obviously with connection errors and etc. They're able to bounce back strong. They're able to really stamp their authority within the OCE region that, yes, we had an off week last week, but we are still the #1 team in this region.
I think something I said in game 2 carries through here, just moments of brilliance out of Team Process, but particularly in that game 2, but nothing this one, just nothing that could finally get that into the back of net, and they just couldn't find the mark, couldn't open up that net, and the opportunities just weren't capitalized on this time around. But Ground Zero was brutal that last game as well. They just did not allow Process any room to breathe.
No, exactly. They didn't allow Process any room to breathe, but they're also forcing Process to play a little bit quicker than they used to. We saw a few times Process making just mechanical errors with how fast they were having to challenge the ball, where they had to be, and that speed and lack of confidence when challenging the ball can really affect how the play unfolds.
Express actually takes that slow, good patience there, gets a second as well, but can't get past CJM. Now Torsos will take this from under the ball, dribbles it well, but it's going to go off backboard. CJM coming in just before Amphis could take a shot. Express using the handbrake just to turn in on that goal at the last moment. No shot available for him. Great pass into Amphis, and they'll slam that one home.
We have to talk about that control from Torsos. Look at the way he's able to pop the ball, recover quickly, and we talked about recovery in Series 1, where they were able just to keep their nose on the ball. They're challenging the possession straight away. They're keeping themselves relevant, and it executes with a goal.
Potato doesn't quite get the touch he needs. Leaves a dangerous opening for Ground Zero right off kickoff. Now Potato can get a clear out. Torsos under this. Will go back to that backboard. Torsos still trying to get under it as Laxon poses the threat, grabs that boost, gets it past both Torsos and Amphis. Express is available. Laxon gets another center. Nobody's available. Team Process just hesitant to go up after the onslaught they've received from Ground Zero so far.
It's a very much a mental game at this point. You know that Ground Zero are going to challenge. You know they're going to be efficient, and that's getting to you in terms of where you're positioning, because you think, am I going to get a good touch? Am I going to lose possession? And that's causing this confusion in the gameplay. We do see CJM, the veteran, really staying confident, getting good challenges, and proving that they can keep themselves relevant. It's now up to Lax and Potato to, try and rise to that occasion, but a bit unfortunate. Again, just Amphis taking advantage of the positioning.
Yeah, and I mean, it's not like the positioning was the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's just enough. If you're going to take in gameplay like that to Ground Zero, you have to expect a scoreline like this. But Potato's happy with second place, but it's sad when you can't see them push through that mental block. And, we saw in game 2, Process be able to bring out some amazing stuff. There we go. Potato able to work off Lax, and they are still capable of this stuff, but if they can just get on top of their mentality, we'll see more of it out of them.
Exactly. When they start to play their game and they control the pace of the play to their style, they are such a strong team. We saw that in game 2. We saw some real big highlights, some moments where they took the game to Ground Zero, they played their own match style, and it worked. Now they've just got to try and adapt and do the same thing. Keep the ball away from Ground Zero. Force them to make mistakes, because they are definitely capable of that.
CJM, great little tap to pass that off to Potato. Not going to get finished though. Laxon now using exactly what you were talking about, pacing this game out, trying to force it to their speed, but nothing coming out of it just yet. Potato misses that. A little bit of a misplay. Bad communication on the side of Team Process nearly costs them the goal, but Ground Zero misses the net.
Yeah, Ground Zero missing an opportunity there, and also equally Baked Potato did have an opportunity for a 1v1, but with a bit of a heavy touch in the middle, did give away possession to Torsos, who was waiting. So some opportunities missed on both sides of the field, and again, an opportunity here for Express, but he does unfortunately miss, but the pressure is still mounting, it's still going. Baked Potato with the save, keeping his team only 1 goal deficit.
I can't believe that was a savable goal. Laxon scores off of it as well, and we go to an even game. 2 minutes on the clock, 2-2 on the board, and we have an even game between Team Process and Ground Zero.
We do indeed. This is reminiscent of what happened in Game 2. So all they need now is just to keep this momentum going forward. It's one match after another. Yes, it's a best of 7 and you need a reverse sweep to win, but take a series away, get some confidence, and that'll be really good moving forward.
CJM up now, very vertical, does get it away to a little bit more safe spot. Express and Torsos double committing on that one as Amphis runs back. Amphis being the savior right now as he just holds that high. Laxon can't reach it, and CJM will send it to the wall, comes off nicely. 50s on Express, and Torsos will get a nice touch to try and keep possession. We'll go back to Amphis, but no shot on there.
Yeah, no shot as of yet, but some pressure building for Ground Zero here as Torsos takes the ball in the corner. It's going to pop out. Nice challenge there by Laxon. He's actually going to try and keep possession here as well, but Amphis, again, great read. Beautiful EU clear there by Potato, but Ground Zero are very good at gatekeeping here in the midfield. Oh. What a save there by CJM, flicking for his life as Amphis took that shot.
Yeah, there must have been 0.1 of a second between that shot and that save. CJM just absolutely perfectly touched that to send it high and out of goal. They've clutch saves like this a couple of times. Potato with a great shot. Unfortunately, Express right in the way of that does make the save. Amphis up now off the pass from Express. Great shot after that flip reset. Scoops it, but no goal out of it either. The defense out of Team Process is holding up so well right now.
Yeah, they're stepping up to the plate in a massive way, and probably their biggest game yet. They need to try and get this win so they have that confidence boost moving forward. Torsos narrowly missing the upper left corner. Ground Zero seem to love that position. We've seen 3 goal attempts and 2 successful shots. A third there. Sorry, I should say a fourth. They seem to love that top left corner.
They certainly do, but they're not finding it just yet. Will go away, looking like it might be overtime. CJM going to tap it up and follow it. The 50 comes out. Potato will let it drop to the ground, and we have overtime.
This is it, golden goal. We could potentially have the series finish here, or we can have Team Process taking a game away from arguably the #1 team in the region at the moment. As a lot of people find it as well. Express does take a shot, but it goes wide to the right side. So now Laxon looking to take control, gets met by Torsos. Torsos again, extra touch. Amphis is there, but he gets beaten by Potato. And now the Ground Zero on the back foot here, trying to keep the ball away from Process, but Laxon's brilliant challenge to force a touch by Express.
Amphis tries to redirect, but misses the touch. Will go forward off Torsos though. He's going up for the shot himself. Gets it off the post and in. Brilliant shot. What a series. It's a shame that Team Process weren't able to take a game away from Ground Zero here, but probably the result that should have happened. Ground Zero so strong throughout all of their matches tonight, and really bring it through in a big way in the finals.
Yeah, definitely. Ground Zero, rocky start, but we've been able to see the highs and lows the entire night. We saw them coming out pretty strongly against Renegades, having a bit more of a tough time against Direwolves, but this time, obviously, the confidence really shining through into Team Process, and arguably, you know, one of Team Process's most difficult games of the night. They definitely had some highlight moments where they're able to bring themselves more relevant into the game, but you know, like I said, it's a marathon. They have to do that consistently throughout the entire night, and it's been a long day. They've obviously had qualifiers, then the playoff series, so it's a super long day for these players, and they have done exceptionally well all in all. Yeah,
and you know, as much as it was only 4 games, a best-of-7 series is always so threatening when you're already tied like that as well. So Team Process just I just want to give a shout out to them. I mean, they did so well to get to this point and to absolutely deserve to be happy with second place. They are second place. Ground Zero take a #1 spot for week 2 of the RLO Masters, and it's been an unbelievable night of epic series.
Yeah, definitely. The series have definitely not disappointed tonight. Shout out to our production team for choosing our matches. We've had an amazing bracket unfold between us. We've obviously seen Team Process have a couple of clean sweeps and then have a really tough game in the end. But I'm glad to see that they were able to get themselves on stream and prove that they can really bring themselves relevant into the game. And then obviously we see Ground Zero's journey going through some absolute juggernauts. We had Renegades, arguably, one of the top 4 teams, even like the top 2 teams going against Ground Zero, Direwolves, who were last week's winners, and then obviously finishing the round out with that clean sweep.
Ground Zero maintaining their winter champ status here as they go through and earning those points in the rankings as well, of course. Been a great day. We will sign off now, but thank you for watching again. Tune in this weekend to ESL as well. They've got their regional series happening as well. So some big stuff happening all around OCE, and of course, don't forget to follow RLO. Awesome stuff happening here all the time. Another shout out just to the cast. Awesome stuff in the background here and always making changes for the better. So been a great day. Been awesome working with you, Jupiter, as well. And we'll see you next time. This has been the RLO Masters.